Hello, and welcome to Popcorn and Beers, where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs. We use the stuff that gets you drunk. Welcome in. It is a slow week for me, so Josh is handling the heavy lifting for us in the watching category. So when we get to what we were watching, it's going to be him leading it off. But you guys all know what our butter on top was this week because you all listen religiously. And I got to say, I kind of wanted to go back. I know we're not getting into Scream 6 right away. While I was watching it, I was in a theater by myself. I was kind of trying to recall because I told you guys last week, I'd only really seen Scream 1. And I'd seen bits and pieces of the other ones when they were like on TV, right? Like the one that has Wes Craven actually in it. And I was looking at the cast and stuff. I was kind of like, I kind of want to know the story now. Did you find yourself in a similar boat? You don't have to give away your review yet, but anything like that?
Kind of.
I know Hayden Panettiere brought back some nostalgia for you, but it was Courtney Cox that did it for me. And then I just started going through the cast lists of each Scream, and I was like, dang, how about that?
Yeah.
And I think, I know it was reported that Neve Campbell didn't want to do this one due to money, but I actually think that's all a story. That's all a ruse. That's all to drum up curiosity and expectation for Scream 7 when she reappears.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what I think is going on. You know, that viral marketing.
No.
All that aside, what were you watching this week, Josh?
Oh, who, me? Well, I watched a couple of movies. One of them was News of the World. I think it's a 2020 film with Tommy Hanks. Pretty dang good movie, I'd say. Not spectacular, but it had some moving bits, and it was a pretty good period. It takes place during the Reconstruction era of the U.S., so the war is over. Some cities are still being occupied by Union troops. Times are hard for everyone, especially in the South. The further south you go, the harder things are, because I'm not sure if you knew, but railroads were cut, supply lines were destroyed. Nobody has anything coming or going. It's just everyone's poor, eating mud. So those trying times...
Post-Civil War. Post-Civil War.
Oh, yeah, post-Civil War, yeah. And then there was the Reconstruction area. I think it was about 5 years than that. But in these trying times, when everyone's having a hard time, the main character is Tommy Hanks, and he has a collection of newspapers, semi-recent, I suppose, and his job is to go from town to town and in the community hall or whatever, just read the news to people from all over. So he has a newspaper from Tallahassee and one from Canada, whatever, and he just reads out news articles to people because some folks can't read. He says in the movie, nobody really has time for this anymore. We're all busy. So, like, it's kind of an entertainment situation. He's like a traveling bard, but all he does is read the paper. One of those things where, like...
That's an awesome concept.
I mean, it's a really cool, awesome concept because, everyone's having a hard time. And, like, he said it all in just that beginning part, kind of. Like, I'm just here to take your mind off of today and listen to some news from the world. And that's what he does. And then the movie at some point becomes kind of like an escort job where, like, you remember Logan, right? Or a million other movies where, like, oh, there's a kid. I got to bring the kid along. So
The Postman.
Yeah, Waterworld.
The Transporter.
So it's
2, 3.
You can kind of like imagine most of those plots, the male lead is like a grumpy old cuss, and he eventually reluctantly gets around to loving the kid, right? And it's a heartfelt goodbye or whatever the ending is. But this was a pleasant refresher of that sort of trope because he was just a regular old nice guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't really know anything about kids, so there is that barrier. And she's a Kiowa. She's from the Kiowa tribe, so she doesn't speak English. But it's not like the grumpy old man who comes around in the end. It's like he's just trying to learn who she is, and she's just trying to do her thing. And it ends up being a beautiful story. It's nothing over the top. There's no crazy action scenes. It gets moving in a couple times. Really good historical fiction, and I'm not sure if it got a lot of press just because it's not that exciting of a movie, but it was entertaining the whole way through, and I really enjoyed it. I was just to anyone, I'd say it's a popcorn and a beer.
Also slipped under my radar, but I could just picture Tom Hanks. It's an apple. You don't know apple? Your culture doesn't say apple. That's an apple.
Apple.
Yeah.
Woody. But what was one thing that was a little interesting was they do I suppose according to the Kiowa tribe, pointing, this is common among other cultures, but pointing at someone is very rude, unheard of even.
Yeah.
So he would do a lot of pointing, and a lot of the Westerners would do a lot of pointing. And she would intentionally dodge the point. Like, don't point at me. She would dodge it.
Yeah.
And it would show her later on. She points with her pinky knuckle. That's how she would point.
Oh.
It's a really interesting, because I've seen it with the hand open, like in Turkey and such, a lot of Middle Eastern countries. But the pinky knuckle is how they point. They don't even use the pinky point. It's really, I don't know. It's a nice little detail.
Navajo and Albuquerque the same.
Okay, I'm sure. I believe it was on the Netflix.
Okay.
I believe.
Nettie.
I watched Practical Magic.
Okay.
Because I was just looking for something kind of lighthearted and just something easy to watch, and that's definitely right in that lane. It's Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman, everyone else in it has been in a lot of movies. Just a beautiful
Two of my
little
biggest crushes as a 10-year-old boy.
Oh, Kidman and Bullock, yeah, especially from this movie.
Both.
This movie was a big catalyst for that, I'm sure, or lit the fire. They were both very just beautiful and sexy. Nicole Kidman was particularly like that was her character, was to be the sexy girl. So they chewed that up a little bit, but it's a great movie, and it's just like girls doing witchy girl things and like being like about it and like showing like women showing their power kind of thing. It's a girl power type thing.
Yeah.
What was interesting though for sure was the soundtrack. It kind of like ambushes you. They don't like ease into it, and it's all pop type hits like it's the way you love me. It's the feeling like this kills this. Yeah.
Faith Hill.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff like that.
That was on so many trailers when that song came out.
Oh,
so many like rom-com trailers.
Yeah.
Just like
I think it's just like boom. They turn the volume way up immediately when the thing is happening. And it wasn't just that song.
I think
quite a few.
Talked about old movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the one we did on a couple episodes ago was "Anywhere You Go, I'll follow you down." Remember?
Yeah.
Every rom-com for like a series of 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a weird lyric, right? If you think about it, like that's a weird lyric. I'll follow you down, but not that far. Like, once you get too far, I give up.
Like the guy in the gazebo in Cocaine Bear.
A bit out of range.
It's just kind of a fun, dreamy movie. The stakes they feel kind of tense at some points, but really overall, the whole movie is just like you're just kind of lightly smiling. It's just fun to watch. Whimsical. They do a lot of whimsy. Oh yeah, that was an interesting thing about the soundtrack too. There was like some scenes that were like really, they could have been really dark or really borderline scary, even suspenseful. But they add in, like for instance, spoiler: her husband dies early in the movie, and he gets hit by a car. And they play like
if you haven't seen this movie, it's been 2 decades. You don't need to give a spoiler alert for 2 decades.
But while this is happening, like. It's like it's building and building, and then boom, it happens. While all this is happening, they're playing like really whimsical, like Jason Mraz guitar picking. Like, what is happening? It's like beep beep boop boop. Oh, he died. Beep boop boop boop. Continue with the montage.
You got Lion King in the background.
Yeah, right. It reminded me of like there's that TikTok trend where some DJs or beat makers or whatever. It'll do like a bass drop at inappropriate times. So it'll show the clip of Lion King where Simba loses his father. Spoiler. And as soon as he's like, Dad, it goes. Anyway.
And then you just on the video, you got to reverse and move forward the yak stampede.
Yeah. I actually give this one a popcorn and 2 just because it's kind of it has timeless vibes to it, sort of, and it's just a fun movie. I think every little girl around 7 years old should definitely watch this with all her little friends and boys. I watched it when I was around that age and loved it.
And where could they watch it?
I think it was HBO. Also,
They're
we watched
HBO. No,
are they?
Yeah, they're in a major financial crisis, so we're gonna see a lot less content coming from them soon. That's why we've started to see a lot of really good things get canceled. Yeah, so we'll see what they're able to keep. But yeah,
they're falling victim to the wave that everyone else was feeling.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much capacity that people have for streaming. I mean, we're all pretty much paying for cable.
There's not enough time. You can't drop the 100 great shows in one day because all of them are going to get missed.
And money. Like we have to pick and choose what we're subscribing to.
Anyway, I'm subscribing to the Count of Monte Cristo.
All right.
I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it. That was on Netflix.
Of course.
Yes. And
all right.
I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. It's one of the most legendary or most known books. It's referenced constantly throughout every form of media. It's a basic revenge story.
Have you ever been to Denny's?
Have you ever been to Denny's? Oh, because of the sandwich. Oh, you're so funny. But if you haven't heard it, it's sort of like a Batman, but not quite. But it's the movie of a guy who gets everything taken from him. He's in jail, never to be returned, and he spends his time learning how to escape and learning how to become a great man. And he goes home and seeks his revenge and gets the girl. That's the movie. It's not a spoiler. It's like a 300-year-old book. The movie, as far as I know, follows the book a decent amount. It's 2001 movie. Is that right? 2010? Anyway, it's old.
It's not 2010. It's older than that because I watched it as a youth. So
yeah, I was probably a preteen or mid-teen, something like that. So it's probably around 2000-ish, 99. I don't know. But Jim Caviezel, the guy who plays Jesus, he's in it. The bad guy is Guy Pearce. He plays a perfect bad guy.
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus is in it. Superman's in it. Cavill. Yeah, he plays the son. He's very young.
It depends on the era, but I just knew who you were talking about.
Yeah, Christopher Reeve plays the son of Jim Caviezel. But yeah, it was really fun to see him. I didn't know he was in it. I forgot or whatever. He's really
oh my god! Do you want to know when the book was published?
When?
1846.
1846, bro. It's a very old movie.
God.
I mean, book. Yeah, and it's a classic.
That's a very old movie.
It's old as fuck. Yeah.
Oh man!
But like I said, it's
the cave paintings.
It's definitely in Shawshank Redemption. He suggests that as a book to someone, etc. It's commonly used as a tool for plot device like that. Great movie.
Mm-hmm.
If it was made today, it wouldn't be the same movie because I think they would overemphasize things like sword fights and action scenes and really cool heisty not Guy Pearce. So yeah, they would probably in this day and age try to get Guy Ritchie on the film and make him throw an explosion and some sword fighting.
2002.
So like the movie's split up into chapters: before prison, then after prison, and he touches on all of them perfectly. There's a really beautiful, distinct tone to all of them. Great storytelling, not too much. That's my takeaway. Like if it was made today, it would be too much. It was just right down lane. It watched like it was a book being read, kind of good pacing all around. The bad guy was kind of textbook narcissist, but also an idiot. So that was interesting. Like it's notable that he's dumb. Like he's just dumb. And that's why he loses in the end. Yeah, that's it. Great movie. Popcorn and 2 beers.
No, it's been years and years and years. But I remember I didn't. So back then, and kind of now actually, that this will be kind of my review of our Butter on Top film. It's just the love story just drags it into the mud, and And that's going to be the case, I think, with me moving forward with a lot of films. Like, if it's not something that I'm prepared for, if it's just, jammed in there, I'm kind of like, it's just dragging the story down. Now I've got to focus on this, and I get it's a passive story to keep us interested, give us something else to focus on. But it's just kind of like, and I know in the Count of Monte Cristo, it's like all about him saving, and she's a trope used throughout it. But it's I don't know, just be a hero, man.
Just be Captain America. Hero. Speaking of heroes, it's time to talk about one of the greatest heroes of all time. He should have been an Avenger, but they couldn't afford him. I watched Shrek Retold. And if you're unfamiliar, we talked about it on the Gorp Show, but it's the movie Shrek, which, if you weren't sure, was made like 20 years ago. And about 3 or 4 years ago, the internet got together, and over at least 200 artists contributed towards remaking the movie shot for shot. So the plot and everything, and I said it was every 7 seconds, but I was wrong. It's kind of just, it's a collage of clips sent in by 200 artists. And some of it's live action, some of it's claymation, some of it's really bad CG, some of it's good. It's very, very funny. Everyone gets their takes. The musical artists are incredible. I can't really talk enough about it. You should just get on Shrek Retold. And you should definitely do it because they've already begun working on Shrek 2 Retold. So it's been about 4 years, and they're all getting back together and making a new super worldwide production of Shrek 2.
With all the money they made.
Extremely entertaining. Like, it's a work of art. It's a cultural, worldwide cultural event. And you're missing out if you're not seeing it. I give that a popcorn and 3 beers based on what it is as a medium.
And difficulty level, right?
Yeah.
Pop and 3.
Collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah, and to cut it all together. And I mean, you and I are experiencing how hard it is actually to even edit the most simple of things. So hats off to all you editors. Newfound respect. For me, I watched just one documentary, but it was 4 hours. It was 4 episodes. Sheesh. And it was, it plays into something I've been talking about. But Nuclear Meltdown on 3 Mile Island takes place in Middletown, Pennsylvania. And long story short, big, huge companies, to include the government, are corrupt. Who would have thunk that? I didn't need 4 episodes of it. I didn't need four episodes. It could have been an hour-long documentary, to be honest. Yeah. I fell in love with the old cowboy whistleblower that was from the Navy. I thought he was very interesting. He has a terribly sad story. Spoiler alert, he loses his first wife to a car accident. Then he gets, for whistleblowing, the family feels threatened because there was some other stuff that went on. I won't spoil this. In a different town with a power company where they protested, where people were found dead, and lots of people thought that the government had them taken out. So this gentleman finds his house broken into at a certain point in the documentary, and his boys were with him, luckily, but he feared what would have happened to his 2 sons if they had been home without him. And his girlfriend, his long-term girlfriend, he was on 3 Mile Island, I think he said of 3 years, ends up having to leave him, and he agrees to it because she's worried about her safety and the safety of her daughter that she brings into the relationship. And he never gets to see her again until the very end of the film. Spoiler alert, the mother ends up dying of cancer as well. And many think it was linked to the radiation. And then this poor man gets throat cancer. So, I mean, you feel bad for him. This guy's trying to do the right thing, trying to whistleblow and say that we're not following safety protocols, ends up stopping what could have been the worst nuclear disaster because this happened prior to Chernobyl. What he did, lots of people think, saved us from having our own Chernobyl. But it just, the NRC was the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in this documentary. Of course, it takes place. I learned about a film that I've never seen called The China Syndrome that has to do with nuclear power plants or nuclear energy. And apparently, it's got like Jane Fonda and Jack Lemmon, right? 2 great actors and actresses. Well, 2 great actors. Let's just say that. 2 great actors. And apparently the China Syndrome is that a nuclear meltdown could occur. And what would happen was that nuclear core
would melt all the way through to China. But of course, it would hit the center of the Earth or the core of the Earth first and explode, causing nuclear waste and nuclear radiation to spray out into our atmosphere from the core of the Earth, thus destroying where we live.
And
And apparently, yeah. Well, apparently it could really happen. Is what I've gathered from this documentary. Like, apparently that China syndrome thing, it could actually be a real thing if things were to go south with the nuclear energy power plant. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, wow, okay, that's terrifying. that actually could be, because you have lots of physicists, nuclear scientists on this documentary. I will tell you, it is long, it is drawn out, it is boring, but. Watch DuPont. You'll see what I'm talking about, having to do with Teflon and how many people they poisoned in Louisiana. Watch Aaron Brockovich. You'll see PG&E and how many people they poisoned in California. Yeah. There are so many companies that place profit over human life. And I dig the documentaries that bring it, but all I'm saying is all we needed was an hour. So I give this one a popcorn. Chris Rock, only an hour. Just the popcorn. Yep. Just the popcorn. It's too long. It's too long. You wasted 3 hours of my time. That's it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's going to be my soapbox for a while. Like, stop it. It doesn't need to be that long. You had this story in one episode. Especially this story, because there was no actual disaster that occurred. It could have been a lot worse. Now, I'm not saying those poor people that got cancer wasn't a disaster. So part of me for saying that. What I'm saying is there was no actual explosion.
Be better at storytelling, guys.
So Chris Rock, keep it short. Popcorn, underwhelming, and he messed up his wrong. He messed up the main joke of the whole thing. So one popcorn for Chris Rock. Yeah, he actually screws up the main joke that everyone was there for, the Will Smith joke. He messes it up. So he sat there and he only does the last 7 minutes. Oh, did you watch it?
I watched the last 7 minutes. I thought he nailed that. He messed up the joke. Part.
Remember, he accidentally mentions emancipation instead of concussion.
Oh.
So just the popcorn for me there. But this week, you got to choose our drunk classic, and it was by, of course, your favorite, Mr. Wes Anderson.
Anderson.
Tell us about the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Well, once upon a time, Ferris Bueller was my comfort movie. I've watched that a lot. Space Jam before that. We've mentioned that before as well. Grand Budapest is my happy place. Like, anytime I have nothing else to do, or I'm bored, or I'm sad, or whatever, Grand Budapest makes me laugh and makes me sad, and it makes me, in the end, just really filled with happiness. I love this movie. It's Wes Anderson. It might be his best, in my opinion, but, he's got a lot of great ones. What he's known for is the way he moves the camera and the way he blocks his scenes. A lot of it is directly at the camera. And if you took principles of visual communication course in art college like me, you know that staring right at the camera like that, it naturally makes the audience not necessarily uncomfortable, but kind of on edge. And he uses that technique very often to deliver comedy. Usually you look at it in a
pretty consistently uses the same actors too.
Yeah, he has a real great stable of I'm not sure if that's a good word usage, but actors that keep coming back. They just love to be in his films, and he'll pick one up once in a while and then carry them as well. Like now it's with Tony Revolori, the guy who plays Zero. Revolori, he plays Zero in Grand Budapest Hotel. Anyway, great movie.
Tom Holland's bully. Tom Holland's bully in Spider-Man.
Yeah, Tom Holland's bully in Spider-Man. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Shout out to him. He was at least nominated.
Also in Scream 6.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see him in Scream 6. Really cool. He at least got nominated for a lot of awards for his role in this movie, Budapest. Basically, he's a hotel boy, and he's second in command to Ralph Fiennes' character, who is the leader of the hotel.
Is it Ralph or Rafe?
It's Rafe Fiennes, Lord Voldemort. And he ends up really in a sense, being the main part of the show because he's the one who directs all the action and tells everyone what to do, and he destroyed. He's so good in this movie, so good. Mm-hmm. The timing of everyone in the movie, the way that everything's delivered is just really off-putting, but in a really funny way. The scenes, the design of everything, whether it's the way a room is decorated to the outdoor. You know how he likes to do miniatures. But the hotel is a miniature. It's like 2 feet tall in real life. No,
right? The ski scene, all done on miniature.
Yeah, so cartoonish.
I loved it.
So funny. Just a beautiful.
I said it was lovely.
Yeah, really heartfelt. I could go on this all day, so I'm going to let you take the reins here. But it's my favorite movie. It's so good. Popcorn and 3 beers. Yeah.
So you nailed a couple things I had written down. Love film style by Wes, and I love the set design, especially with the miniatures. Yeah. Since I already mentioned the ski scene, I will say the other scene that really made me laugh out loud in the middle of the movie, even though I've already seen it, was the cat out the window.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Did you just throw my cat out the window?
Right. There's so many little scenes like that. Even though you've seen it before, you laugh out loud. Like when he's on the when he's going to the monastery and everyone asks him who he is, and he says, "Uh-huh. Uh-huh." Yeah. To everyone for 3 minutes, he's It's so funny.
Absolutely. So I also wrote down Edward Norton, Ralph Fiennes, Jeff Goldblum, Adrian Brody, Defoe, Bill Murray. It's just a who's who of the cast. The older gentleman, the older version of Zero, has taken off recently. He was in The White Lotus. He was in a couple seasons of a show with Rob McElhenney on, I can't think of, Magic Quest or Mythic Quest, on Apple.
Mythic, yeah.
Yeah, so he's been in that. So he's really taken off since here. But another, I give it a popcorn and 3 beers, and I just want to leave you with the quote.
I go to bed with all my friends.
Oh, boy. So good.
Now, our butter on top this week, very slasher. And it was for Jordan, and Jordan's not here. Jordan, we miss you. I hope you're having a blast at the bachelor party today. The bachelor party today. Like he's on ABC waiting for a rose. Now, it was Scream 6. And I will say, I am falling in love with Jenna Ortega as an actress. I think she's great. She was my favorite part of the movie. Even though she slightly overacted much of her parts, I just like her. I like her demeanor. I like the way she acts. I like her one-liners. I liked her in Wednesday. I liked her in, I can't recall the name of the film, but the school shooting movie on HBO. I just like her. I can't explain. I think she's good. Outside of that, wow. So many exit ramps for so many things that occurred. I also wrote down how many vases were harmed during the making of this film, because it felt like in every scene someone was getting hit with a vase. I was like, here, God damn it. I'm sitting here like, I don't think I have one vase in my house. How do they have so many vases around New York City? They're like, you just keep getting hit with a vase. Also, like, if I was Ghostface, eventually I'd be like, I shouldn't enter a room where there's a vase. I'm going to get knocked down.
Yeah. That's like in Predator 2, where you notice, like, when someone doesn't have a weapon, he doesn't mess with them. He only hunts people with weapons. Get that vase out of the room and you're good to
go. So, for one of the ghost faces, I will say super anticlimactic, totally saw it coming a mile away for one of the ghost faces. I won't say which, leave that up to you. I will say I'm tired of the bad psychologist trope. Get it out of here. This is the third movie in a row that I have watched with the psychologist in it where I'm like, okay, got it. Okay, all psychologists are bad. Let's keep encouraging people to not seek out mental health help. So the third time in a row, salute to Too Short, making it into another movie with Blow the Whistle.
Yeah.
Outside of these things, Killer's daughter's relationship kink is stupid. It's just silly. Lazy dialogue, lazy story movement. All I kept asking myself is, what the hell happened to the taser? If you know, you know. The whole movie, there's very strong mention of, does this individual have their taser on them, leading the audience to believe this person always carries a taser. There's one taser, never to be heard from again. There's one taser, you never see the taser again. And I kept thinking to myself, where the hell is the taser that they're supposed to have on them at all times?
What that taser go, bro?
It was great to see Courtney Cox and Hayden Panettiere back. At the end of the day, it was a popcorn for me. It made me laugh more than anything else. I love that they have a female basically reprising the role of Jamie Kennedy. If you've seen Scream 1, you know what I'm talking about. The person that knows everything about horror movies, that's way too excited about everything that's going on. Unfortunately, she is an over-the-top Jamie Kennedy, and she wears on you after a while. You're just kind of like, okay, enough.
Yeah.
So a popcorn.
Well, sir, I think we're along the same path. It's actually one of my first notes was, this soundtrack sucks. Oh, never mind, too short.
This soundtrack sucks.
Unnecessary Billie Eilish, like, didn't even fit the scene, but whatever. It's Billie Eilish.
Yeah,
okay.
Lovely.
Overall, I give the whole film in general, like, this is cute, but really, who cares, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. So the Jamie Kennedy type character, the one who knows everything and explains what's happening and blah, 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 that's a pretty common aspect throughout the Scream, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember it happened again in Scream 3. So you've only seen Scream 1. I've only seen Scream 3 in full. I've seen bits and pieces of the rest of them. But it seems like that's, as a theme, Saw is about this always happens. In Scream, analyzing itself within the movie, being meta on meta, is kind of how the movie goes. So they mentioned in this movie that there were movies in their universe about this movie, in previous films. So yeah, like it's a very masturbatory thing, and it's
stab.
It's just not great. I understand like what you're trying to do, and that's kind of popular, or at least it was for a good while. Maybe it's going out of style again. But like the Deadpool aspect of being sort of fourth wall, or at least not being aware of the fourth wall, but like analyzing what's happening, doing a book report on the movie that you're in. You know what I mean? It just got a little tedious, and like you said, grating with this new character, and the fact that the show is just about looking at itself. Like, okay, cool. So a common thing for me is if a horror movie is bad, it's usually funny to me about how bad it is, and it's great. But this was not that either. Like, it wasn't. I didn't really laugh at all. Nothing was the death scenes weren't really that interesting.
Really?
No, like
I laughed so much. Like when they knocked Ghostface on the ground and he's like out, and they just run away, and I'm like, why are we running? Pull the mask off. He's knocked out. Kill him. Do any spectrum of things besides run.
Throw a vase at him.
There is enough of them.
Yeah. Common theme. I'm not sure if it goes throughout Scream, but it's definitely common in horror. Definitely in this movie, trauma response is basically the theme. How you deal with trauma, how you deal with trauma, how it's affecting you long term, being new to it. I had I had the Scream guy person like clocked from minute one. Like, oh, yep, that's him.
Yeah.
Called it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hayden Panettiere. Haven't seen her in a long time. She looks great, and I want to marry her still. The movie sucked. Popcorn.
Okay. All right, so let's end with some art films. We're going to do something a little different for you today. Jordan would have loved this, but he is not here to do it. So sorry, Jordan, you're just going to have to watch us on YouTube like everyone else. We are going to pick our winners for the Oscars tomorrow, and we won't find out if we were right until you do when this airs on Monday or Tuesday of next week. All right. So, first category we've got for you, Josh. Best actor in a leading role. Will it be Austin Butler? Will it be Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for Aftersun, or Bill Nighy for Living? They have Brendan Fraser as well. So Brendan is what I'm going to write down. Both times 2. Okay. Now, best actor in a supporting role, we've got Brendan Gleeson for Banshees of Inisherin. We've got Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway. That's the film I talked about earlier. I didn't even know he was going to be nominated, with Jennifer Lawrence as well. So then we've got Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans. That's basically a biopic about Steven Spielberg's whole life. And then we've got Barry Keoghan, I believe that's how you pronounce it, for Banshees of Inisherin. And then you've got Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, or you might remember him from The Goonies.
Oh, they threw him in there, a little curveball. I want to vote for him.
That's crazy. Can you get out of my head? I also have him picked to be the best supporting actor. Ke Huy Quan. So far, you're talking about from Banshees?
Yep.
You mean Barry? Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Brendan Gleeson. I got you. Okay, got you. Cuts off his fingers. Give that man something for cutting off all of his fingers. All right. So next you've got actress in a leading role. You've got Cate Blanchett for Tar. I'll be reviewing that next week. Terribly boring. You've got Ana de Armas for playing Marilyn Monroe in Blonde. You've got Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie. Then you've got Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans. And then you've got Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, boy. I think it's probably going to be Ana de Armas.
Really? For Marilyn Monroe?
I think it's possible, but it's maybe not. Maybe it's Miss Yeoh. What was her first name?
Michelle
Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh is who I want to pick, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Ana de Armas.
Which one are you going to pick, Josh?
I'm picking
You're
Armas.
very conflicted.
I'm picking Armas.
Okay.
You got to go with what's going to be, not what you want.
All right, Josh goes with Anna. I'm going to keep Michelle Yeoh as my pick. Actress in a supporting role. You have Angela Bassett for Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yep.
You have Hung Chow for The Whale. You have Carrie Condon for Banshees of Inisherin. You have Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then you have Stephanie, I believe you pronounce it Sue, for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett. She's a big favorite right now.
Yep.
Gee whiz. I really want to say Carrie Condon. I thought she was amazing in Banshees. Jamie, of course. I mean, you could give the legacy award to Angela or Jamie. Let's be honest here. I'm going to go with Angela Bassett because I think it's a makeup call.
Dang, bud.
They owe her.
You can say that, but also she made me cry twice. I watched that movie twice, and she made me cry twice.
She's fantastic. She's fantastic in everything she does. Legitimately,
of course,
everything
just
Angela
like
Bassett does.
Always fantastic.
All right, so best animated feature film. You have Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. You have Marcel the Shell with shoes on.
Oh, I want to see that.
You have Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. You have The Sea Beast, and then you have Turning Red.
Oh, Turning Red got a lot of hate. I didn't see it yet. I think you're going to be right about Pinocchio.
Okay, so we got times 2 for Pinocchio. I haven't seen Marcel. That's the only one on this list I haven't seen yet.
Have you seen the old YouTubes?
Is the Marcel
based on those?
No, but that's the only one I haven't seen yet. All right, so Best cinematography. You've got All Quiet on the Western Front. You've got Bardot, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. You have Elvis. You have Empire of Light. And you have Tar.
I'm ignorant to this one because I haven't seen most of those. I'm going to say Western Front because of buzz. People are loving on Western Front.
And also I said that.
And you said that with words.
All right, so times 2. Next, best costume design. You have Babylon, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. You have Elvis. You have Everything Everywhere All at Once. And you have Miss Harris Goes to Paris.
Ooh, Everything Everywhere.
Okay, I'm going to go with Elvis myself.
Really?
So, yeah, for costume design.
Costume design, Doug. Somebody thought of it.
All right, next up, directing. We've got Martin McDonough in Banshees of Inisherin. You have Danielle. I think it's Danielle Scheinert, pardon me, and Daniel Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans. Todd Field for Tar, or Ruben Oswalt for Triangle of Sadness, or it's Ostlund.
Everything Everywhere.
Everything times 2. All right, times 2. You have All of the Beauty and Bloodshed. You have Fire of Love. You have House Made of Splinters, and then you have Navalny. This is the film about the guy that went up against Putin. I think it's called Navalny.
Oh.
Let's call it Navalny.
I'm going to have to exceed. Was that the right word? Bow out.
You don't want to say.
I don't have any reference to any of them.
All right. Fire of Love, I think, is going to win this one. I will say it's also the only one I've seen. Hey, news to filmmakers. Make your documentary films more available. How Do You Measure a Year? And the Marsha Mitchell Effect and Stranger at the Gate.
Based only on the titles, Stranger at the Gate.
Stranger at the Gate, which was also my pick. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to win, though. I think How Do You Measure a Year is probably going to win, but I'm going to pick on hope.
Pick
on hope that Stranger at the Gate wins. So times 2. Stranger. Danger. Next, film editing. The Banshees of Inisherin. Elvis. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Tar or Top Gun Maverick.
Everything Everywhere. It was incredible editing.
Sorry, I'm a slow rider. On the Western Front, Argentina 1985, which was a good film, by the way. Kind of boring, but good film. Close or The Quiet Girl.
Western Front.
Yep, that is what's going to win. I don't even have a question. It's not even going to be close. It's over. All right, makeup and hairstyling. All Quiet on the Western Front. The Batman. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Elvis or The Whale.
That's going to be a Black Panther.
You know what? I'm going to go for the Marvel movie here as well. I'm going to go.
Maybe Whale takes
makeup and hairstyling.
Beaches, but I'm still going with Black Panther.
All right, which one do you want?
Black Panther. They made the Submariner look cool, which is incredible.
Okay. Next, music or original score. All Quiet on the Western Front. Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, or The Fabelmans.
Everything Everywhere.
All right, you and I are off there as well because I'm going to go All Quiet on the Western Front for music and original score. I thought that score was haunting.
Ooh, haunting wins awards. Like The Wrestler. That was a good soundtrack.
Yeah, right? Josh is everything. I'm running out of space on my paper.
How many more are there?
All right. 11.
11?
Music. 11. I'm gonna go as fast as I can. Okay, let's just pick. I'll stop right here. How about that? Let's just read them. Music, original score, Applause from Tell It Like a Woman, Hold My Hand by Top Gun Maverick, Lift Me Up, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Natu Natu, RRR. Oh, that was the film that Jordan watched. And This Is a Life, Everything.
I'm going to go with Black Panther, Rihanna, boom, boom.
I did as well. Product design, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Way of Water, Babylon, Elvis, or The Fablemans. Production design. Sorry.
Avatar.
All right, I agree with you. It will be Avatar. Short film, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, The Flying Sailor, Ice Merchants, Year of Dicks, and As an Ostrich Told Me, The World is Fake, and I Think I Believe It.
Oh, I have that on a list. I want to watch that, but I'm going to go with Year of Dicks.
Okay. Short film, An Irish Goodbye, In Value, Les Pupils, Night Ride, or The Red Suitcase.
Red Suitcase. I'm just guessing now.
The Red Suitcase. I went with An Irish Goodbye. Best for sound, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, Way of Water, Elvis, or Top Gun Maverick.
Western Front.
All right, I went Top Gun Maverick there. This is the jet sounds and all that stuff. All right, visual effects. You know what? I do think you're probably right, though, but I'm going to keep it with Top Gun Maverick. I think you're right, because I remember writing this will win for best sound design. Visual effects, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, Way of Water, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, or Top Gun Maverick.
Avatar.
I agree with you. Writing, All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, Living, Top Gun Maverick, or Women Talking.
Oh, Women Talking? No, Western Front.
All right, you went Western Front. I went Women Talking. No one needs to watch that. I didn't even review it. A lot of critics that think they're super niche gave it an A. It is one of the most boring movies of the whole year. All right, so
it's going to win.
Sorry, it's a very impactful story, very important story. It's exactly the title is what you watch. Now, writing, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, or Triangle of Sadness.
Everything Everywhere.
Everything Everywhere for Josh. I went with The Banshees of Inisherin. Best Picture.
Everything
All Quiet
Everywhere.
on the Western Front. Okay, I agree. I'm not even going to read them all.
There's Everything Everywhere.
And that's them all. We did it. That's the show, everyone. Sorry, Josh. That was a hard one for you to get through. I know a lot of those movies we're out on, and we haven't seen quite yet some of the other ones, but we'll get there. Thank you, everyone. We will see you at the movies. Please bring your popcorn and your beers.
Get it buttered up.